Dealbreaker by C.O. Ebert. Copyright 2025. Ophelia Myth Media, incorporated in the United States, and Ophelia Myth Media, Limited, United Kingdom and European Union, and worldwide. Chapter 1. The room that I was keeping that summer in 1894, above a busy cafe in Milan, was thick with the smoke from my own cigarette. The afternoon heat clung to the walls like an unwanted memory, curling the edges of the lace curtains, and had soaked into the wooden floorboards and that damned ever-wet plaster. I think this apartment building was a house once, and the room I had made into a study and office for seeing potential clients used to be a servant's quarters. Jack fidgeted back and forth slightly. He was in the form of a 50-something French or Englishman dressed in bizarre fashion, no doubt something he got inspired to create from some oracle he consulted.
"It'll be the latest thing that all the gents are wearing in 1955. It will be the height of fashion,"
he said. "I see. So you spend good sublime current on consulting with portent oracles so that you can manifest fashion of future decades," I said to him, as I drew on my cigarette again.
"I mean, well, I am nothing if not original, my precocious little Gwendolyn. Tricksters need to appear odd, humanish, but we like to give a telltale we are not quite human, as a sort of game, you see, a tip-off, as it were, to our potential clients."
"So you trickster entities get your style from the future or the past?" I asked him.
"Oh, no. That's just me. I'm one of the few ones with vision to get my ensemble from those times not yet come,"
Jack said.
"He looks to me like a dandy that couldn't afford all the pieces of his get-up,"
said Marta, her distaste for the trickster spirit obvious. She crossed her arms over her ribbed black top, sharp cheekbones twitching with annoyance, eyes narrowed like a cat, deciding if it would pounce or leave the room entirely.
"Marta, my darling, you believe yourself morally superior to me because you prey on humans for their youth instead of their souls."
Despite anger, Marta spoke with the same measured and quiet calm she always spoke with.
"I haven't fed on a human who didn't know what they were in for in more than 300 years. I gave it up. I have adopted the ways of Saint Hieronymus Yost."
"Oh, Saint Hieronymus Yost, that self-righteous vampire who teaches predatory demi-humans how to keep themselves fit as a fiddle without feeding on humans because he believes mankind to be our equals. I can't go a week without someone praising that sanctimonious windbag as if he's the seventh coming of Gilgamesh."
Jack snorted.
"Humans are our equals, you bastard,"
Marta replied. It was then the trickster spirit noticed the regard and body language between Marta and I.
"Oh, I see. You ladies are presently involved in more than simply a business partnership. You and Gwen here are intimate. I can tell,"
Jack said. But then he continued.
"You know, a succubus who has an immortal for a lover. That's a bit of cheating the system, if you want my thought."
It's true that Marta doesn't have to worry about finding willing humans for an exchange, as I have endless years for her to take. But our arrangement is not one of convenience. We are very much in love, I said.
"Oh, love. How very poetic. Tell me, Gwen, how does your succubus feel about the fact that you have been known to trade in the sublime current against your own kind?"
I haven't considered myself human for some time. After being alive for the first maybe 500 or 600 years, I no longer recognize myself as a member of the human race.
"Well, that may be, my dove, but short of your immortality and some magical prowess, you are still quite human. I could say I don't consider myself a fae anymore, but iron still gives me a rather nasty headache, That is, if I'm corporeal.
Jack said, drumming his fingers. It was then that I reached out and touched Jack's sleeve. Which you're not at the moment. Force will projection. You are actually still vibrationally in the Fey plane. You have a body. So why are you manifesting as if you're a djinn? Something has you nervous.
And he's come to us for a reason,
15 said, coming into the room and putting his Allslay down on the table before joining me in the other chair, now sitting to my right, with Marta on my left. We sat on one side of my desk, and Jack, seemingly our potential client, if he could ever get to the point of things, sat on the far side. 15's cloak rustled like burnt paper, bones clicking faintly as he moved. His presence cooled the room by several degrees. But in the height of August in Italy, this side effect of my lich friend's presence was rather welcome. Jack regarded 15's dagger, the Allslay, silver and gold and exotic metals, petrified woods, various mnemonic glass vials containing different fluids and potions and essences, and at least 100 different microglyphs, flowing with rivulets of sublime current, with a curious stare that communicated Jack both feared and admired the weapon.
Your pet lich's precious gadget that can kill just about anything. It's rather unpleasant if you ask me, but impressive.
You've gotten yourself into trouble with something higher than yourself,
15 said, the green flame glowing under his skull.
which means maybe you should be nicer to me.
Yes, your little weapon is very important. I've heard it can even kill angels of the Christian God, elder vampires, and even archetype gestalts. What do you do about things like me that are in another realm?
Jack asked smugly.
I bring them into this one,
Said 15, reaching with his powerful magics through the planes, dissolving the fake force projection body and pulling Jack truly into our reality. The trickster gasped. 15 does have a point, Jack. You're clearly nervous. So tell us what the hell it is you need our help with. Jack's scratch was now physically in our realm, and his initial jolt of fear calmed slightly. He straightened out the jacket and pulled on the collar of his future shirt and continued.
I've run up against a deal-breaker.
His demeanour was now changed, more serious in tone.
So you did a verbal agreement. Obviously. Otherwise, you could just destroy the contract.
Said Marta.
Yes, my dear Marta, go ahead and laugh about one of my verbal agreements, and clever wordplay, and refusal to draw up a contract for a binding deal and soul exchange, all coming to bite me in my own bum.
What she's getting at are the practicalities, Jack. So you can't just break this deal yourself and let the deal breaker out of it. Is that it? So who are they bound to? Oberon and Titania? Or have you rifled another pantheon up? 15 raised up its bony hand.
a deal breaker. You're saying this like it's a profession.
It's not exactly a profession.
Jack continued.
But sometimes when mortals have made a very long-term soul bargain, one that will not culminate until their natural death, they get into what's called deal-breaking. Their souls are already marked, so if they enter into a bargain with a being like me, they can't be claimed. Because the long-term deals, the ones that last more than 7 years, are always with a high-ranking demon or a god or something.
15 turned its fleshless head sideways.
I fail to see what the benefit is in that.
Because the deal-maker, such as myself, when we go to claim the soul, we leak out raw current. A wound, if you will, or if we're minor enough, a fatal injury. And then they can exchange that, often to the power whom they have a bargain with. Not for release, but for an extension. At least that's the common motivation. But I don't think that's my deal-breaker's motive. He's a bit exotic.
I would understand if you didn't have the ability to mind read. But how the hell did somebody fool you, Jack, into not realizing they were already claimed?
I suspect it's one of the pieces of the unusual nature of my deceptive client,
Jack said.
There are two things that make him unique. He's of the bloodline, the royal song.
Jack said.
What does noble blood have to do with anything?
Marta asked. No, my love, I said to her. He's referring to the bloodline, which arose out of the sacred triple union 2,000 years ago between Jesus of Nazareth, Mary Magdalene, and St. John the Divine.
So there's a drop of Yahweh's blood in him.
15 said, stressing the name. He was using the name of the presently most powerful god on this planet, at least, and was openly refusing to recognize his false claim to be the one true god, or even the oldest. 15 now continued.
There are lots of people with a little bit of inheritance from that overinflated Canaanite forge god coursing through their veins and dozens of other old gods. It doesn't make them any more special than a human that has a pleroma spark of any kind.
Well, I just mention it because it's not something you run into every day. Regardless of your feelings toward the not-so-much almighty, those with royal song aren't any plain god-born. But that's not what prevented me from seeing he was already marked. It's whom he was marked by.
And yes, we finally get to the point of why you're here. It's someone whose temple you can't just go to, or whose plane you can't access, and simply work out the conflict with them, I take, I asked. He got quiet for a moment and sank back in his chair.
Forgive me. I wish to transition back to my own plane and project here before I tell you. Lich, if you would be good enough not to pull me back to this reality a second time?
15 nodded. We waited a moment while he transitioned back to the dimension he'd been in and then projected his false physical form of force will back into my rooms.
It is Nyarlathotep. That is the one this man, Arthur Seward, has a deal with.
The outer gods.
Marta said with a shiver.
The gods from beyond this creation haven't bothered with this universe, much less Earth, since I had skin on my face,
said 15.
And even when they didn't make deals for souls.
Nyarlathotep is noted for being a bit less indifferent than the other outer gods. But what makes you think that I can go up against an outer god?
That's not what I propose,
said Jack. You want us to help you create a paradox, something where the deal is simultaneously both fulfilled and broken, which would invalidate it even without a written contract.
Yes, Gwendolyn,
he said, using my full name and looking me in the eyes. The fear obvious, not only for the potential wound he would suffer, but because he knew he could face even destruction if he leaked sublime current in deference and defeat to one bound to an outer god due to the broken deal. What was the deal? I asked him directly.
7 years of power, and that was 6 years ago, and a few months.
Power. That's not very specific,
said Marta.
Yes, well, when I make deals like that with mortals, it's incredibly easy. I basically weave a matrix and let it run on its own. Influence over whichever sex they're attracted to. Physical strength. Money. Just about anything the matrix can do on its own could be deemed power. It's a very easy and open-ended bargain to fulfill on my side, as power could mean so many things. And I let it run for 7 years. And voila, I filled the deal. But on this one, I didn't even know it wasn't doing anything. But exactly what kind of power can I give to a man who is descended from the present reigning deity of Earth and soul-marked by an outer god?
Jack's form shimmered for a moment, as he lost concentration, maintaining the false semi-material projection. "What do you know about this man?" I asked.
I thought he was a struggling poet with an appetite for drink and pleasures of life who thinks philosophy and detachment makes him more than a sinner. That type. But I'm sure that's not who he really was. That's what he wanted me to see. I don't even know where he is. I don't even know his real name.
15 was cautious.
Gwendolyn, if the outer gods are even tangentially connected to this, we can't take this case,
he said. The fire coming out of his eye sockets rose.
I am with 15.
Marta said.
My love, this is too dangerous.
I removed my shoes and stockings and placed my feet up on the desk, wiggling my toes at Jack. 15 slumped and Marta sighed. They knew what this meant. Normally, if I took a case, it would be a handshake or eye contact. But I was going to make the trickster spirit kiss my feet. The third way of making a temporary contract without any soul stuff or permanent reality condition binding involved. They weren't upset because I was doing something slightly belittling to Jack. That part they likely approved of. They were upset because I was taking the case.
Come on, we can handshake,
Jack said.
Gwendolyn, what is in this for us?
15 asked me. Marta grew serious for a moment.
A way that Gwen could maybe finally die. She's thinking all this exotic, high-level stuff involved. It could lead to a way that she could finally know death.
I didn't want to say anything to comfort her because it was true. Seeing I wouldn't relent at a chance to see him put in his place, the smug trickster shook his head in reluctant acceptance. Jack took a deep breath and kissed my left foot, and then my right one. He winced a little, not from the discomfort or, I should hope, from any odour, since he couldn't even smell anyway, but from the brief pain. He must have felt making a deal that wouldn't involve him ever getting a soul. He leaked a little current, which Marta encapsulated into an awaiting mnemonic glass mason jar. "Thanks for the down payment, Jack," I said. "You really know nothing more about this fellow."
Somebody saw him 2 years ago in Glastonbury, just going around the village, strangely enough, claiming he was looking for work. He was using a different name, Andrew Burns. Or maybe that's his real one. I don't know.
Marta being the most aligned to do it, although it wasn't the first nature of a succubus, held out her hand. Jack held up his, and even though he was cross-plane, they did a memory exchange. She now remembered and knew everything about this client of Jack's that Jack knew. "All right, we'll see what we can find," I said. Then Jack nodded and stopped his projection and, from our perspective, vanished. From the look on Marta's face and the rhythm pattern I had come to know of 15's lich fire which indicated his mood, I knew my two partners were expecting a very nice evening on the town after me accepting this case, though not because they were happy about it, not remotely.
"I'll get my false face,"
said 15. I started putting my stockings back on, and Marta put a hand on me.
You're taking us to La Sala del Cavaliere tonight,
she said, kissing my cheek. It was going to cost me money and current to go there, but for sticking by me with this, they deserved it.